So it's been announced that an offer has been made for Billy Joe Saunders to fight Golovkin. I guess it's not a surprise. Firstly, we know that Golovkin doesn't find opponents overly easy to come by. Secondly, we know that Golovkin seems intent on unifying the 160-pound division, and obviously by beating Andy Lee, Billy Joe Saunders became a world champion within that division, and therefore obviously a target for Golovkin. We know Golovkin had previously been in talks and had discussions with Andy Lee about a potential matchup between Golovkin and Lee for the WBO belt. So it seems that with Saunders' recent victory, he's jumped ahead of Lee in the queue, and he's now in place on Gennady Golovkin's hit list, which is a dangerous place to be. Billy Joe Saunders has obviously not had the chance to defend his belt yet, and I guess that's similar to David Lemieux. He obviously won the belt and first time out went straight in against Gennady Golovkin. Whether Billy Joe Saunders will do that, I doubt. I mean, I don't have numbers, but from what I've seen and from what I've heard, and certainly rumours and comments made by Team Golovkin, they put in quite a serious and strong offer to make this fight happen. But I doubt Billy Joe, I doubt Frank Warren will go for it, to be honest. For a start, no matter how much money they've put in front of Billy Joe Saunders, I would imagine that a Chris Eubank Jr. rematch would be as lucrative a fight for him. Chris Eubank Jr. versus Billy Joe Saunders is a massive pay-per-view fight in the UK. That generates huge levels of interest. And with the recent news that Box Nation have the capability of staging pay-per-views via Sky Box Office in the UK, that fight, for me, got a lot closer to be getting made. So if you're Billy Joe Saunders and you can take some money for fighting Golovkin or the same amount for fighting Chris Eubank Jr., the guy you've already beaten, it's pretty likely you're going to take the Chris Eubank Jr. fight. Let's be honest. Whatever you think of Chris Eubank Jr., whatever you think of Billy Joe Saunders, defeating Chris Eubank Jr. again isn't likely going to be an easier fight than defeating Gennady Golovkin. Obviously the money's going to be there for Saunders to fight Golovkin, but I think from his perspective, is it all about money? I mean, he's a relatively young guy. He's got a long career ahead of him, and there's big money matchups for him. Saunders is a guy who probably has earned relatively well already in his career. We know he's had step-aside money at least once. He's already had a big fight against Eubank Jr. He's had a big fight against Andy Lee, and there's probably going to be multiple offers for him out there now. An Andy Lee rematch, as I say, Chris Eubank Jr., and maybe other big fights, the likes of Peter Quillen or Daniel Jacobs. My point is that even if Golovkin is crazy big money, there's other huge names out there, Cotto, Canelo. These guys could be as bigger money. And the question is the Golovkin risk reward there? Now, it's a fight that I'd actually like to see for what it's worth. But the only thing that tempers my enthusiasm for it is Billy Joe Saunders has said in numbers of interviews, like, he's a long way off Golovkin, Golovkin would beat him and Eubank Jr. in the same night, he really doesn't fancy that fight. And for me as a fan, it's hard to get enthused about any matchup when one of the two men clearly thinks he's going to struggle to get the victory done. That just suggests not competitive and suggests that it's going to be a one-sided matchup. So for me, if Billy Joe genuinely believed he beat Golovkin, it's a fight that I think could be interesting. But I just don't think he's ready for it. I don't think he's mentally ready for it. And I see him taking other options. And as I say, I think the Chris Eubank Jr. rematch could very possibly be a bigger money matchup for Billy Joe Saunders. Let me know your thoughts. Many thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this, do give me the thumbs up. I'd appreciate it.